Every person you admire, every calm leader, wise teacher, or centered human being shares one defining quality. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's self-mastery. Because peace doesn't come from controlling the world, it comes from controlling yourself. In a time where chaos feels constant, where emotions, opinions, and distractions are pulling us in every direction, self-mastery isn't really an option, it's a requirement. I'm your host, Isaac, and today on the Standards of Excellence podcast, we're exploring why self-mastery is the gateway to peace, and how discipline, awareness, and internal control create the stability most people spend their lives searching for externally. Most people misunderstand peace. They think that peace is the absence of problems. They say, once my job settles down, or once I find the right partner, or even once things slow down, then I'll have my peace. But peace is not the result of perfect conditions. Peace is the product of internal control. Because if peace depends on circumstances, you'll only ever feel calm when life cooperated, and to be honest, it rarely ever does. Self-mastery changes that equation. It shifts your focus from external control to internal stability. It teaches you to anchor your calm, your focus, and your values regardless of the noise around you. That's why people who master themselves seem untouchable. Not because their lives are easy, but because they're unshaken when life gets hard. Self-mastery happens in 3 levels: awareness, discipline, and alignment. Level 1 is awareness. You can't control what you don't understand. This level is about noticing your thoughts, your triggers, your patterns. It's not judgment, it's observation. Until you see yourself clearly, you can't lead yourself effectively. Level 2 is discipline. Once you understand yourself, discipline gives you that awareness direction. It's the ability to act according to values instead of moods. It's the daily practice of doing what strengthens your character, not what satisfies your impulses. Level 3 is alignment. True mastery arrives when your actions, your words, and your beliefs move in the same direction. When you no longer need to force discipline because your habits are naturally aligned with who you've chosen to be. At that level, peace stops becoming a pursuit and it becomes your default state. There's an old story about a sailor crossing the open sea. During a violent storm, the waves crashed against the ship, the wind howled, and the crew panicked. But the sailor remained calm, adjusting his sails with quiet focus. When asked how he could stay so composed when everyone else was terrified, he said, "The sea is always unpredictable, so I learned to master the sails instead." That is a clear example of self-mastery. The sea represents life, chaotic, ever-changing, beyond your control. The sails represent your emotions, your habits, your focus, the tools that are within your control. Peace doesn't come from calm waters, it comes from skillfully steering through the storm. Modern psychology confirms this ancient truth. Humans experience peace not when they control everything, but when they perceive control over something. When you develop mastery over your reactions, your habits, your time, your sense of empowerment rises. Stress decreases, clarity increases. It's not about pretending emotions don't exist. It's about learning to respond, not react. Self-mastery creates what psychologists call an internal locus of control. The belief that your outcomes depend more on your action than on external factors. That belief alone predicts higher levels of happiness, productivity, and resilience. Peace, then, isn't passive, it's a practice skill, built through emotional awareness and deliberate action. There are 3 major forces that undermine self-mastery: distraction, emotion, and ego. Distraction pulls your focus away from what matters most. It keeps you reactive, overstimulated, and easily manipulated by noise. Emotion hijacks logic when it's unregulated. When feelings dictate behavior, peace becomes impossible, because emotion changes faster than truth. and ego resists growth. It wants to be right instead of improving. It seeks validation instead of progress. Mastery means noticing when these forces rise and refusing to let them dictate your direction. You can acknowledge emotion, quiet distraction, and humble your ego, but only if you choose awareness before reaction. So how do you actually practice self-mastery? Let's make it practical. Step 1, begin with reflection. Every day, ask yourself, where did I lose control today? What triggered me? What did I avoid? Awareness begins with an honest reflection. Step 2, create simple disciplines. Discipline isn't about extremes, it's about consistency. Start with small commitments, waking up on time, managing your tone, finishing what you started. Every small act of control builds confidence in larger ones. Step 3, align your actions to your standards. Self-mastery means living in harmony with your values, even when it's inconvenient. When you act out of integrity, you remove that internal conflict, and peace naturally follows. And finally, step 4, learn to let go. Mastery isn't about rigid control, it's about flexible strength. Sometimes peace means releasing what you can't command and focusing on what you can. The reward of self-mastery isn't applause, it's freedom. Freedom from impulse, freedom from fear, freedom from being controlled by every storm that passes through your life. When you master yourself, you become trustworthy, not only to others, but to your own future. Because the person who governs themselves governs their world. And in that self-governance lies unshakable peace, the kind that no one can take away. You will never control the winds of your life, but you can learn to control your sails. You can choose your tone, you can choose your focus, you can choose your standards. And when you do, calm becomes your constant. Thank you for listening to the Standards of Excellence podcast. If today's message spoke to you, share it with someone seeking peace in a world that rarely offers it. Until next time, pursue excellence, find your inner peace, and make today matter.